Well, it's October 3rd. This is our second annual Flint Ridge field trip. This year we have somewhere between 30 and 80 people going. We've got quite a caravan here. Some of the sleepy people.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
Aha, I got a zoom lens. You can't get away.
That Fazo girl's the one that doesn't like morning.
Oh, you're smiling more than you do in homeroom. Excuse me. Nope, we're still packing. Sandy looks real excited.
Mr. Brown. Oh, we got food left.
Jason.
A flasher.
Yep. The stuffed animal.
Hey, Sandy.
Two
Yeah, Tony had to
sheets.
go get his sleeping bag.
Take a picture of your underwear, Jen.
Do you mind if I take off really quick, or are we gonna? Because you're gonna want to get right on the road.
You want to repeat that, Samantha?
No. It's okay.
How are you, Aggie?
Yeah.
How you say it?
Wow. Someone else.
Where are you eating too early?
Too early.
Yeah.
Middle of the day. I brought that stuff.
Are you thirsty?
Oh, we're gonna have dueling videos here.
Those too. Yeah.
Well, here goes Mrs. Fallhaber. Tom Striley's van. Now, Mrs. Fallhaber's in a big hurry for some reason.
Sorry, man. That's okay. Hi.
Hello.
We already were maps. There goes Rachel. I'm like, David.
Okay, guys, come on over. Hurry up. Hurry up. Shoulder to shoulder, facing outward. Oh, wait a second. Everybody, just turn around for a second. Look here. You guys don't even know what the signal is. You won't even know if you're dead. See everybody's face. Okay, in American Sign Language is the only one I know. That means stop. That means your life just stopped. So that is the signal. When the killer comes up to you and goes like that, you're dead. Okay? You gotta die. Don't die at his feet. Everybody will know. You want one killer or two? Two. Two killers. Okay. If you want to be a killer, you have to just put up your hand. I'm going to walk around the circle. Don't peek. You don't want to know. Everybody shoulder to shoulder, facing outwards. Hand up, facing outwards. Shoulder to shoulder. Nope. This won't work because if I pick one of you guys and I got to reach across, you'll see my hand coming. A little bit. That's it. Real good. Real good. Okay. Now, close your eyes. Close your eyes. If you want to be a killer, you stick up your hand. If you want to be a killer, I will pick the killer by tapping them on the back of the shoulder. You said you wanted two killers. I'll try to select two who I think are going to be real murderous here. Let's see. Okay, killers have been selected. Killers cannot kill each other. So if one killer walks up to another one and does this, just smile and walk away. You know that you know who the other killer is then. So you have until this time Sunday. Kill everybody. Everybody has to find out who they are. We need to get in the vans. If there are problems in any vans, flashing headlights will pull over. I plan on stopping about an hour and a half from now. Roadside rest. Okay? Let's go. Let's go.
It's too close.
Ohio University, this is where I want to go to school.
What?
Ohio University, did you see the sign? Has anybody ever been there? I'm awake.
Yeah, I bet.
Bye-bye.
You turn it off?
Buckeye Local over East number 449 to 28. Bishop Donahue just by Buckeye Trail 16-14. Magnolia very impressive 30 over Union Locals 20. We're 21. Edison South 19. Toronto wins 14 over Caddis 8. And Valley dominated Sistersville. Shut them out 35 zip. Tyler drops down.
This is the exhausted Buck and Gahala. Trip's too much for
United States of Wisconsin at 12:30. Boston College and WVU. Homecoming game. Both teams undefeated. WVU.
Well, none of the vans blew up. That's what it's doing. What?
Where's the bathroom?
It's over there.
Over there.
Go, bud. Tuck us there. Or at least them against the tree over there. Get them out of the way. Trousers here? Yeah.
What's lucky?
Jet?
Or Yagi.
Oh my god. This is 7.
Oh, you don't.
Very simple, you didn't have to worry about it. When you dress up.
Oh no, that's a lift.
Really overrated.
Okay, now, I'll tell you what.
Are we here yet?
Hey, watch out, I'm knocking them all like that.
They wouldn't let me wear the phone itself.
What number is that?
Yeah. That's not no, she wouldn't let me. That's cool.
I like this. Woman knows how to camp.
All the stuff in here I come out too?
Mr. Brown, is all the stuff in there up to come out in the van, everything inside?
Eventually, yeah.
Bud's lunch.
Buddy, where's your pile at?
I'll make a little pile right
This
here.
is mine.
You!
Hi, Mr. Brown.
Brown! Not like that.
We want the door pull right here. We want those to actually rotate.
Insane.
Toomey.
Tooney with an N.
I can say Toomey.
Okay. Actually, tomato, tomato, you know.
You know what I mean? Of course it is. Flint here is really hard.
Oh my God, Rob, that's hard.
I like that. That's not going to be inside. Yeah, we don't want it too close. Jockey it around that. We tie up the side block. Okay, we're all set to that rope now.
Boo.
Hey.
Last time I
Fair
tied
enough.
the stake, I didn't get a real tight.
Where are you sleeping tonight?
Did you bring your bow and arrow? Well, I don't know when archery starts in Ohio, but
You make them out here. Is that the idea?
Well, nice. North and the South Pole are the same length, aren't they? Yeah, so it doesn't make any
pretty
difference. We tied them the opposite direction. Hey, you want to tie the chandelier on right now, even before we raise the tripod?
That would be a good idea.
Want to see the chandelier?
it's right there by the tree to your right, Mr. Brown. There's the crown.
White men take a long time to tie a knot.
Tell me about it.
Yes. Now we want the short end one. About that far, you think?
Yeah, give it a shot. Can always raise it up, I guess.
I'm there.
Jada video.
That's right.
I'm gonna try to take up some of the excess rope here, otherwise the candles burn it.
That's all right, I'm a fireman.
With no water.
Get away.
Don't listen to her.
That's not what it
Okay.
says.
We'll back up and we'll raise it. Down in the ditch. Still, right here.
Cut.
Chandelier.
Here they start to construct the teepee.
They're so fucking weird. You need to punch them in the head.
He wasn't recording when you said pissy. We almost got nailed.
It would have picked up so much velocity to probably kill me.
Big time. I have an oversized outdoor. I already started that. base of it goes right up. 5 is over here. Come on, I'll show you. Put it on the other side of that one, Vince. They want to get in straight. Right in the now the 5 that is an not be a big brown. Not a bug.
It's sticking outside
Look
tomorrow.
at this pole right here.
Right in that real big V you see.
I mean, you know what I meant.
Right down in there.
Shouldn't be any music.
What?
Shouldn't be any music. Listen to natural sounds of nature.
I am.
Like tags.
I don't want to get my automobile.
This up first, then.
No, it's just on the radio. Watch, this is so funky. Do you hear that?
Mine has a beat.
There's not many things out here.
Obviously.
I mean the head.
She's trying.
Yeah, probably, huh? Only one person. Special.
Oh, I need that on. You won't even see it between the liner and the...
I wasn't going to anyway.
Hey, Fred.
Here we go!
Fred.
Come here. Yes, I saw it. It's pink, white, red, blue. They're all color family.
Fire in the hole.
Like a house.
Fire in the hole. There's Scott having a good time.
Yeah, this kid.
Very interesting
Tell me about it.
concept.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's that made of?
Canvas. It's what we call 10-ounce canvas. We want the pole to be on top of this, and this is actually upside down. We need to flip the whole thing over. Is that it?
Yeah.
The top right up to it. Yeah, the top of the triangle, I guess, goes right at the blue spot there.
Shut up! What are you gonna get married? Something great. I have no idea. It's 365 square foot. I didn't want stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want? A trip. Oh, okay.
Who would like to do the honor of the sacred wrap? Gotta do the sacred number of wraps here. No one. How about, okay, Frank, you do one. Jen does one. Mark does one. Buddy, you do one. Start here, go around one. Now when you do this, you have to sort of flip it up. Oh my God, claustrophobic! Yeah, gotta go with the sun. Keep on walking. You won't be able to slide up until you get
We're deciding which way to wrap the rope, apparently. 4 sacred wraps are on the top of the teepee. This is bad. 2 teachers and it still takes them a long time to decide.
Still filming?
Uh-huh.
You still filming?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong?
I have no idea. Something's wrong with the pulse.
Oh, good. So we're just gonna take over.
Okay, now they're gonna do the 4 wraps.
Misty, would you see if you can unroll the TP up there a little bit? Get to the smoke flaps. Where we find the smoke flaps, there's like little cones. Here they are. Oh, you know what to do is open it up and then we'll reinforcing wire.
Look behind me, make sure I'm not gonna fall over nothing.
Oh my God!
San Andreas fault.
Look at that cool kid over there. He is just so cool.
This is an important part here. Mr. Akers does such a wonderful job.
How's it going there, guys?
Good, good, good.
Well, it takes a while to...
We're going good.
We're good to go.
Let me help you with that, Mark. I'm gonna go eat now.
Just be careful.
Right now.
Be careful.
Always drive safely.
Sure.
You better not drink, drive, and remember.
Yeah, not too much. Roy Hiyagi would not approve.
Sorry.
That smells pretty good.
What does that mean?
You want to talk about noise? As a matter of fact, I would.
See, look at this. Your official knife, Boy Scouts, got it from my Eagle. Tag.
There is the TV.
Watch out, Jay.
Should have warned me.
I did.
Hey. Almost tripped into the tent. Could have killed
Feel that in the
myself.
morning.
The lacing
Were you Yogi?
Where Yogi?
What's your name? Mark.
Henry.
Oh, Henry.
That means Henry in Indianese.
Oh,
I don't have one.
what? Mr. Vega preparing for a long night.
Okay. The TP and everything goes in the middle of it.
Let's have a...
There's a bench. Oh.
Get up there. We need the lacing pins.
Hey, Frank, come here.
Will I fall down?
I gotta jump through a bit.
Hey, get someone little. Like Becky, right?
Somebody's skinny like
Hey,
that.
Tag.
Where's Jessie?
Hey, Beck, come here.
She over there?
Frank, you're late, huh?
What do you want?
Who's doing this?
Help him up.
Okay.
Whoa.
There's 2 ties.
Did you hear that?
down there.
Glass packs.
I'll tell you.
Canvas strings.
Are you old enough to play with knives?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
Tight. So that the
It's like sharp knife and I love it.
flip it up.
Does this ever get dry? It's kind of damp. Will it just stay like that?
No, it's wet every day.
Do you want the coolers in closer, Frank? Or we need longer arms?
Want me to get up there? Anything higher than this?
Well, just so that they come together pretty close, and then just tie a bow in it. That's it.
The bow?
Okay, now the lacing. You know how to put these in? Well, okay, I'll show you down here. The 2 holes have to go on top of each other. So you start on the right, go through the bottom one, come through this one, and you have to get that one on
Pat.
like this. Okay?
Pat.
So you get one in for now.
See if there's a Boy Scout knife. There's a, yeah.
You know who to put out for firewood.
It says it right there. There's your Boy Scout knife.
Certain direction. That's it. That's it. Then you go through. That's it. And then the next hole. There you go.
Do that, that's correct.
Be careful.
Now put it through so it's about in center. Pull it back. That's good. Unloop any hair that's tangled in it. And let's take this rope. Maybe we can get the smoke flap out of the way here.
For what? Some more tape? Push it around. It's like...
I got him, man.
Okay, if some of you want to do the really hard job of getting these smoke flap holes in the smoke flap, that's always a real fun job.
Are these poles over here? Without the flag on them?
Without the flag.
See that one over above Brown show? That brown one?
Oh, hey.
How am I looking here?
Sorry, bud.
Am I clear?
I'm gonna watch the view.
Okay.
You stay on this side. I'll come over here. Well, there's little flagpoles.
Back. What was that?
This one is folded in, so you have to use it to put the back out. It's coming.
No, I want the blue flower. Yeah, yeah.
What are you trying to do?
The smoke flap was folded underneath, so we need to get it out. There it's coming. Go. There it is. Okay, the point has to go another one coming. Home sweet home.
What are you doing with that, bud? See, here's another hand. See, I'm. Oh, that guy. Is it Vince? The one they covered.
Stand on
I don't know where mine's at, seriously.
Oh, that is ours. That's looking pretty sad. I thought that one up there was ours.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
Oh. No, mine's way up higher.
How's your depth perception? You gonna hop down?
Thanks. Needed that.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah, want to try? Can't see. No, killer.
No one's died yet.
Mark, are you done?
Oh, yeah.
I can't see that.
Never know what's gonna happen.
I know, Mark.
I'm prepared. Really?
Gave you the sign, dude. I don't know what the sign is.
I bought some food last night with mine for $43. I just basically come up. Cool.
Okay, Toonie, can you hang off for a little bit, please? Quiet. When we do this, no grunting and groaning, giggling, nothing. We just pick it up and move it, all right?
Wait a minute. One more.
One more in here.
Where we go?
Can't go anywhere else.
Stop, put it down slowly. Slow.
Am I gonna have to flag?
You want me to move mine? Nobody, you want to leave it there. It's a root.
I don't know where they are.
Pat McDowell.
Yes.
Where's Pat? Patrick. Pat McDowell! Come here! You under arrest?
We think you're the killer.
Yeah, I am.
There you got him.
I thought
We gotta die now. You don't have to do it right now. You gotta die. They got you. They got you. We need a metal hammer now.
Are you taping? Yes. Come on, guys, sing.
Down further, this is not our fire room, guys. Huh? Did Mr. Brown tell you to get that? Did Mr. Brown tell you to get that? He did? Yeah. Okay, that's to be come out further out this way. This is not.
He's scared right now. Though.
That's because she got that camera. He's camera.
I've got a saw in the van here somewhere. We'll go through this.
Hey, I bought a power saw. We got a power saw in the van. We got one that plugs in a cigarette lighter.
The saw will really go a lot faster.
Let me do it. Center.
And you don't need the wood that badly right now anyhow.
Burn your feet hot with them feet on? Oh, good. Get it on tape now.
Hey, wait.
Oh, look at
Steve broke
it. It's like all rotten and stuff.
You can't get this alone.
Hey, wait, how many got this? Marks we
What?
Can't do it. Wait, hold on. Don't break that.
Hit it on either end. Maybe it'll.
What?
Yeah.
Am I on?
It's on.
Yes. No vulgar language.
Hey, bro.
Do you want more than? Yeah. Memorial, I can give that to you.
No, I got it off the Sandy.
Lindy's t-shirt.
This is so close.
Oh, okay, yeah.
More
You're welcome.
No, I have some.
Sarah.
Hello. I already have some in my hand.
I don't know if I have any.
Bob thinks he's being cool.
I'm not being cool. That ain't cool. That's great.
What is it, this water stuff? I'll get on that.
Sorry. With wet weather stuff?
Something's dripping from up there.
There seems to be some precipitation drippage from this fine oak tree.
Yeah, walnut tree. I believe.
Yes, it is. Horseball walnut tree.
Horseball.
Yeah, horseball. Horseball walnut tree.
I see.
Precipitation drippage. Falling on the premises. Thank you.
Well, we've just made it to the mound builders. There's a mound in the background right here. We're going to go up the sidewalk to the visitor center. And here we have high school students horsing around on a mound. Maybe we'll have to make that into a burial mound.
You can play King of the Hill.
Yes. I'll be king.
I know. My dad broke it. Alright, girl. What the heck are these supposed to mean?
Brill?
Yeah. So you can find your way around.
Okay.
Trip over a mound.
Okay, wait. Let me get messy first. Let me get. Go ahead.
No, I want this body stuff.
Is this ready? Go. Alright. Do a jump.
Just in case you get lost.
What do you do? Oh, you do. Should we do that?
Which way? That way. Well, I don't know. You are there.
This is like so off-centered. I'm sorry. I wasn't
so.
really paying attention.
I see the curved mound, but I don't see the
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop
Actually,
it
I
think
think this little mound is right there. We all
It's a nice park with all the grass and stuff.
Way off in the distance here, it's all mound works.
Brown tags are made. Tag. You're the man.
To back up away from this map, because this is where I want to start my presentation, and I want everybody to be able to see what's going on. This is a map of what the Newark earthworks originally looked like. This map was drawn or surveyed in 1837, before the city of Newark was built over the top of most of this. This is a reasonably accurate representation of what was here. Very little of this complex remains. But as it stands here, as it's represented here, the Newark earthworks are the largest set of geometric earthworks ever built anywhere in the world. And that makes this site right up there with Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids of Egypt as world-class important archaeological sites. Magnificent earthen architecture. One estimate based on this map is that 7 million cubic feet of earth were moved with bone shovels and wooden picks and baskets and people hauling it to build this giant complex of earthworks. As I said, the survey for this was done in 1837. It was published in the Smithsonian Institution's Contributions to Knowledge #1 just 9 years later in 1848. In that short span of 9 years, from the time they did the survey to the time they published it, the authors, Squire and Davis, could write about Newark. The ancient lines can now be traced only at intervals among gardens and outhouses. So even in the 1800s, Newark was growing rapidly across this site. And surprisingly, given how important this is, being the largest of the Hopewell sites, very few archaeological excavations have been undertaken here. Much of what was here was destroyed without an archaeologist ever looking at it. So all of those burial mounds in the northeastern section, all the little bumps there are burial mounds, none of those were scientifically investigated. They were all simply destroyed. The Ohio Canal was dug through a couple in 1827. The Central Ohio Railroad dug through a couple more and used the mounds for fill for the railroad embankment. That was in the 1840s. And between the canal and the railroads, Newark became an important transportation center for early Ohio. Newark, originally founded on the other side of the river, grew rapidly and covered and destroyed most of what's here. Now that we have basically two and then one other small park that preserve some remnant of this complex. We're at the Great Circle, which was here, and I wish I could say that the early residents of Newark decided to save some remnant of this prehistoric complex because of its importance as a prehistoric monument, but that's not what happened. Instead, they looked at this circle and said, wow, look at this neat circle, let's put the fairgrounds here. And this became the county fairgrounds in the late 1840s, 1850s, and it was a fairgrounds all the way up to 1930 when the Ohio Historical Society acquired it. There used to be a racetrack running around the inside of the circle. There was a Ferris wheel, roller coaster, shooting galleries. This was like Kings Island and Cedar Point in Ohio as amusement park attractions. And it was in the 1854, it was such a big deal that the Ohio State Fair was held at this park. For those of you that have an interest in history or in the Civil War, during the Civil War, this circle was used as the campgrounds for the 76th Ohio Volunteer Infantry. And in 1878, after the war, there was a grand reunion held here. General William Tecumseh Sherman, soon-to-be President James A. Garfield, President, I think it was Rutherford B. Hayes, were all here in the middle of the circle on a speaker's platform giving speeches, and halfway through the program, the speaker's platform collapsed. And the newspaper accounts say that General Sherman and President Hayes only saved themselves by throwing themselves out of their chairs while the chairs fell backwards into the ruin of the speaker's platform. So this site also almost became famous for having a lot of famous people die here, but fortunately that didn't happen. But those are just some historical anecdotes of how this site was used in the past. We are more interested in the ancient use of this site. And again, there's very few investigations of this site. You can ask me questions probably all day about particulars and I won't be able to answer them, or I'll answer them with, I don't know, nobody knows. So I guess it might be easier just to run through quickly the few investigations that have been undertaken. The earliest, the Calliopean Society, of the Granville Literary and Theological Institute, which is now known as Denison University. I believe it was in the 1830s, excavated a portion of this mound back here, which was called Observatory Mound, because if you get up on it, you can get a good overview of the earthworks. They didn't find anything, no artifacts, no golden idols with eyes of green jade, no bodies, no bones, just earth and a stone platform at the bottom. The next set of excavations that we know about were 1928, when Emerson Greenman of the Ohio Historical Society excavated Eagle Mound, a set of mounds here in the center of our circle, and also excavated these three burial mounds there, or what was left of them, I should say. They'd been pillaged and plundered and plowed over, and there wasn't much left. Eagle Mound I'll come back to, the results of Greenman's work in Eagle Mound, because those are interesting. But suffice it to say for now that the only published reference to those excavations are two sentences in Henry Shetron's book, The Mound Builders, published in 1930. It says, Eagle Mound was excavated by the Ohio State Museum. No burials were found, so it must be a ceremonial mound. Well, I should introduce you to a little trade secret, at least a trade secret of archaeology in the 1930s. Whenever you see in an older museum or in a description of an old site like this, if something is labeled a ceremonial object or a ceremonial mound, it often means the archaeologist has no clue as to what the object is. And he doesn't want to sound ignorant, doesn't want to say, I don't know what it is, so they call it a ceremonial object. It means it's not a spear point, it's not a comb, it's not something with an obvious function. We don't know what it is, so gee, we'll call it a ceremonial object. We try not to do that so much today, and when we call this a ceremonial center, we are on much better grounds for calling it that. We think prehistoric ceremonies and rituals were practiced here, and we'll get into the evidence for that. Let's see, I think those are the only really scientific excavations undertaken at the earthworks. We have had more recently some scientists, a physicist and an astronomer from Earlham College in Indiana have studied this circle and octagon combination and have determined that it's probably a prehistoric astronomical observatory. Observatory Mound, been called observatory just because you get a good view of the earthworks, may have been a prehistoric observatory, because if you stand on that site and sight through the center of the earthworks out through that far gateway, that the point on the horizon that you're looking at is where the moon rises at its northernmost point. Now, I'm not an astronomer, so I won't give you the details for this, but the moon goes through a cycle that takes almost 20 years. It takes 18.6 years to complete. It rises in the north, and then it rises gradually further to the south. Then it reaches a point where it stops and starts working its way back. That whole process takes 18.6 years, and this site is lined up to the northernmost rise of the moon. We've got another circle and octagon in Ohio, only one other one. It's in Chillicothe, 50 miles that way. It's lined up to the southernmost rise of the moon. The same two guys from Earlham College figured that out. What those folks from Earlham didn't know, something that I've only discovered recently, and it's not really a proven fact yet, it's a theory I'm working on. These two parallel walls of Earth, the early maps like this one say it goes 2.5 miles. So that goes off the map here. If you trace those walls 2.5 miles, it takes you to Ramp Creek. In 1862, a couple of investigators were here named James and Charles Salisbury. They followed those 2.5 miles, came to Ramp Creek, crossed Ramp Creek, found the walls continuing, traced them a total of 6 miles before they gave up. And they speculated, they said, well, they're going in a perfectly straight line and they're probably either going to Chillicothe or Circleville. Well, in Circleville, there's another circle and square combination. Well, there was, that's gone now, but that's how the town got its name, Circleville. Actually, if you do follow that compass orientation, and those walls are perfectly straight, unlike the way they're shown here, it would take you to Chillicothe. And I got a helicopter from the Ohio Department of Transportation this past year, flew that route, and found down near Chillicothe the remains of what I think might be the southern end of this road. So I'm calling this now the Great Hopewell Road, and I think it did connect this circle and octagon with the circle and octagon in Chillicothe, and that the road ran, what, about 50 miles. So, which is quite a remarkable thing done by a people who did a lot of remarkable things 2,000 years ago here in Ohio. One question that a lot of people have today, and not being from Ohio, you might not know a lot about Licking County, but a lot of people don't think this is the cultural center of the universe. I guess that's putting it lightly. So why would the Hopewell people build this huge complex of earthworks, build their largest center here? I mean, they have a bunch of earthworks in the Scioto Valley, down near Chillicothe. More earthworks than you see here. This is just the biggest single center that's all connected. Well, I've got an idea about that. The Hopewell people were engaged in a trading network that spanned America. They traded for copper from up around the Great Lakes, shells from the Gulf of Mexico, mica, a mineral that's platy and almost transparent. That's from North and South Carolina, from the Appalachian Mountains. They traded for obsidian, a black volcanic glass that's found, well, chemical studies on some of this obsidian show it came from obsidian cliffs at Yellowstone Park. So their trading network really did span almost all of America, or almost all of North America. And what the Ohio Hopewell people may have been giving in exchange for these things is the beautiful flint, with its rainbow-colored flint, from Flint Ridge. Flint Ridge is 10 miles that way up in the hills, and Newark is as close as you can get to Flint Ridge and still have a big flat place to build these mounds and earthworks. So, in addition to being part cemetery, part astronomical observatory, part church or cathedral, this also may have been part trading center, where the flint was brought down. Artifacts crafted from Flint Ridge flint were, for Hopewell people, probably the good china, things to use on special occasions or ceremonial occasions. So that flint was quarried up on Flint Ridge, brought here probably after they worked it into tools, and then traded. This is at the confluence of the Raccoon Creek and the Licking River. So a lot of trade routes, I guess, could center here. And it may have been a trading center. We've got a shopping mall up the road that someone in their infinite wisdom called Indian Mound Mall, recognizing that one of the important things about this region is our Indian mounds. Well, this, the Newark Earthworks, in one sense, only slightly facetiously, may have been the original Indian Mound shopping mall, where people came from miles around to bury their dead, to practice whatever rituals were going on here, and perhaps to use this as a trading center. Just some ideas about what this is all about. I want to take you into the museum now to show you a little bit about what's in there. Unfortunately, from some perspectives, the museum does not interpret this site directly. There are very few things in there that relate to this site. It's more about all of Ohio's past. It tries to put the Hopewell people in a context. Where did they come from? What happened to them? Once we get ourselves oriented in there and I show you the couple artifacts that relate directly to this site, we'll come back out, take a walk out to Eagle Mound, get a sense of how big this circle is and what was going on out there. I guess I will tell you in advance about the two artifacts that you're going to see, and because this is such a large group, I'll point you in the right direction and you just can have a sort of a self-guided tour in there, and I can be around to answer questions. Two exhibits in particular I want you to pay attention to. The one straight in the door, in the back wall, is a cache of flint. Artifacts made from Flint Ridge flint, most of them made by the Hopewell people, but others made by people long before them that were probably artifacts that these people picked up and saved. Because all of those flint artifacts, in that case, were found about half a mile from here in one pit. So it was a cache, it was a collection of artifacts that the Hopewell people had put together and hidden away in this pit for some reason. They never came back to get them, so either the person that had stashed them there died and didn't tell anybody where it was, or it was put there as a ceremonial deposit. We really can't be sure. The other artifact, it's very important. It's the only artifact we have left that we know that came from one of those burial mounds, and it's a little statue, a little carving of a Hopewell priest or a shaman. He's dressed as a bear. He's got a bear robe on, with a bear's head on his head, and bear claws on his hands. And he's holding in his lap a human head that's been cut off. Now, we don't think that's evidence for Hopewell headhunting. We don't think that's evidence for human sacrifice. We don't even think that's some people do, but I don't think it's evidence for a warfare. It's not a trophy that somebody's brought back. Since it's a priest or a shaman that's holding that head, I think that might be just one of the ways the Hopewell people honored their dead. It may have been almost a form of ancestor worship, that when somebody in Hopewell society that was important died, they would cut their head off and save it, and then pray to that ancestor or ask for that ancestor's help in times of trouble. We can't be sure of anything because these people left us no written records, no histories at all. Everything we know about them, we know because we've studied these earthen monuments, and we've studied the copper and mica and bone and flint tools that they've left at their living sites. And from those pieces of the puzzle, we've tried to put that together to learn about these people and to learn about their heritage and to give them a voice so that we know what their lives were like. And that's part of what my job is here, to try to bring some of this back to life rather than having it be just the flint and stone objects and the earthen monuments, to try to put some flesh back on these bones. Well, with that, taking the museum, first of all, does anybody have any questions? I mean, I've thrown a lot of information out at you. At anytime I'm talking, if I say something that you don't understand or that you want more information about, feel free to interrupt me. I don't have much of a train of thought to begin with anyway, so it won't derail anything. But ask any questions you want. I want to take you into the air-conditioned museum, show you a little bit about the way it's organized, and then let you loose for 10 or 15 minutes. Once you've seen that, then we can come back here and see the earthwork. What this is a spear thrower. When you're ready to throw your spear, you have a hole in the end of your spear. You fit that hole with that hook in that hole. When you're ready to throw the spear, you take the spear thrower, let throw the spear, and then twist it. Well, it's the Aztec.
This cup.
Mound or out to the structure that was there before Eagle Mound was there, followed these converging walls through the square and into the area of burial mounds, less than a mile that way. This is like the gateway to the Great Pyramid, and maybe more. When the earliest pioneers, the Euro-American pioneers, came here and saw this site and were trying to understand it and tried to understand what these represented, their best guess of what it was often called was that this was a fortification. And this is called the Old Fort, with its big high walls and its moat. But it was mostly, I think, the authors of romantic fiction who proposed that. Real professional soldiers of the time, such as William Henry Harrison, the hero of Tippecanoe, recognized that these things never could have been intended for fortifications. Yeah, it's got a high wall and it's got a ditch or a moat, but look where the moat is. It's inside the walls. It would be like building a castle and building the castle moat inside the walls of the castle. Or there's a Far Side cartoon that shows somebody doing that, and the king comes out and it says that there was a much to do with the moat contractors about putting the moat in the wrong place. So, yeah, it's a cartoon idea to put the moat inside the walls if it's a fort. So it seems clear that this was never intended to be a fortification, although there was one author, it's one of my favorite quotes about this site. He knew it was a problem having the moat inside the walls, but he was convinced that it was a fort. And he said it was constructed on principles of military science now lost or inexplicable. Right, I mean, it's not a fort. But this is the gateway, this is where we enter, and our next stop will be out at Eagle Mound. My first question for you is, do you think it looks like an eagle or not? There is no right or wrong answer, I'll have to tell you that, because it didn't come with a label. But then I'll talk to you about what was found when Eagle Mound was excavated and how it relates to the rest of the site.
Is that why they called it that? Yeah.
They called it Eagle Mound because somebody looked at it and thought it was an eagle. We have another mound near here called Alligator Mound. It's certainly not an alligator. It looks like some kind of an animal. It's probably either a cougar or a salamander or an opossum, but it's not an alligator. So people can give things silly names.
Approaching the Eagle Mound.
I think we had it on yellow.
It's like an arrow.
This does look like an eagle. Look, there's his head, here's his two wings. Serious. Head. It's not a head, that's a wing.
If they did that, it couldn't be swing that hard perfectly.
You heard that, brother.
Well, let me talk about it. First of all, how many people think that way?
Over there? Oh, cool. Here, does that look like an eagle over there?
Some people think it looks like an eagle. Some people think it looks like a bumblebee with rounded wings. Some people think it looks like an arrow pointing that way. Some people think it looks like a bird's footprint. We don't have any idea. It's an ink blot test. You can see in it what you want to see in it. And it doesn't, and like I said before, it doesn't come with a label. So we don't have any clue as to what these people really intended this mound to look like. We do know what was inside it. When it was excavated in 1930, nothing in the mound, no burials, but when they got to the bottom, the surface that the rest of the inside of this enclosure is at, they found post molds. Now, post mold is a stain in the soil that shows where a post had been sunk into the ground 2,000 years ago. The wooden post is gone. It's been decomposed and rotted away, but you can still see where the hole was dug, and then if you map each one of those, you get a pattern. And there was a large rectangular house built right here, right underneath the main body of the eagle, if that's what we're going to call it. And in the center, right down there, we'd be up in the rafters of this house, and down in the center was a rectangular basin, about 6 inches deep, about the size of a bathtub. And when they excavated that, it had multiple fires in it. It was hardened very hard. There was ash and charcoal and some teeny fragments of burned bone. Now, you couldn't tell if that burned bone was human or not, but that feature, that little basin, looks very much like similar basins excavated at sites in Ross County in Chillicothe that had cremated human bone in it. So this may have been a crematory basin, This may have been a charnel house where bodies were prepared for burial, where some people were cremated, others, this has been where that bare-suited shaman was cutting heads off, and then the rest of the body was cremated, or the body was prepared and then carried with a ceremonial procession a mile that way to where the burial mounds are. We're not sure, but this was a very special place, and then at some point, when the ceremonies were concluded, they either burned that house down or took it down and then built this mound on top of it. Now, why they did that is another one of the many questions that we have about this site, but it is a very dramatic way of saying these ceremonies are over. This is concluded, and this mound commemorates or consecrates those special things that were going on here. So the mound is something of a monument to what went on here. But this again is speculation. I don't know why they built this mound. I don't know for sure why they built the house that was here before the mound was here. But this is the center of the circle. We've got a datum point here we've set in the ground to show where the center of the circle is, and it is very nearly a perfect circle. The circle over the octagon is a little bit smaller, and it is a perfect circle. It is, for all intents and purposes, as perfect a circle as we could make today. The octagon that's connected with that circle encloses 44 acres, so it's a huge site. And I do hope that you are going to have the time to go see that. It's being leased by Mound Builders Country Club, so you can't go over there and play golf, but it is a public site. You can go over there and enjoy the mounds and earthworks, and we've got an observation platform with some information about the site there that's pretty new, with new information. So I do hope that you have the opportunity to go see that site. It is another of the part of this complex, part of what's left of this great complex, and to get a sense of how big this complex was, you ought to drive over there and just imagine what it would be like to walk around this complex when it was here. Do you have any questions over what's going on here? The circle and octagon, the Newark earthworks, something you might have seen in the museum. Yeah.
How far off is it from being a perfect circle? You said it's not.
This one,
yeah.
I think this is within like 10 feet of being a perfect circle, 10 to 25 feet, something like that. And the other one is within 2 feet of being a perfect circle. And I think the diameter is like 1,150 feet or 1,100 feet, something like that.
Is there an estimation of how much time it would take with what tools they had to build all this?
Yeah, you can make those estimates, but the estimates are always in terms of person hours. You can't say how long it took to build this without knowing how many people were involved, how many villages, how many weeks of the year, how many hours a day they worked. But making reasonable estimates, I determined using, let's see, I can't even remember what my assumptions were. I think I was assuming that 100 villages from all around here, all around this region, contributed laborers, and they each contributed, say, 4 or 5 laborers, and they worked for a couple months of the year during spring or summer when food is most abundant, and they worked for 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, something like that. I think that it would have taken about, I think my estimates were about 60 to 70 years to build the Newark earthworks if they kept to it like that. And I think one of the most powerful messages that the Hopewell people have for us today, I mean, many people say, well, what are you wasting time doing archaeology for? You'll never find a cure for cancer or a cure for AIDS, or you'll never solve the homeless problem. Well, maybe we will, because the Hopewell people, without any kind of political hierarchy, there were no kings or pharaohs, there may not even have been any chiefs in the Hopewell era. It's pretty much egalitarian, with people achieving status and maybe people becoming important through their achievements. But without any kind of political hierarchy, these people sustained a vision of building these giant earthwork complexes, building the Great Hopewell Road going from here to Chillicothe that would have taken several generations to complete. They sustained that vision and worked their butts off for generations to do this without anybody telling them to do it, without a pharaoh or a king ordering them to do it. We today, with all our political hierarchy, can't seem to maintain a vision beyond 4 or 8 years, the political term of office for a president, or the political term of office for a senator or something. So if we're really going to solve the long-term problems of the environment, or long-term problems of things like finding cures for AIDS or finding a problem for homelessness, we need to find some way to recapture what the Hopewell people had, some way to sustain that vision, to achieve the things, to solve the problems that we need to solve. So I think the Hopewell do have a message for us that's very pertinent, that's not arcane or esoteric and has nothing to do with stone or copper artifacts. So whether you're interested in what's in that museum or what you see around here or not, I think there is something here for you and a message here for you to take away from this that's beyond just the curiosity of what people did in the past. Any other questions?
Is there a relationship between the size of the circles, or a proportional relationship? Like this is the largest, would the next one be half as large, or within some kind of range?
Okay, well we don't know. There isn't any obvious proportional difference, but this circle is 1,200 feet in diameter. The circle in Chillicothe, well actually I mean Circleville. In Circleville it was a big circle with a little circle inside it. The big circle had a diameter of 1,200 feet. The little circle had a diameter, the same diameter as our other circle. So it's as if they took this circle and the other circle and put them together at Circleville. At Pinson Mounds in Tennessee, there's a circular earthwork built by the Hopewell people, also with a funny bird-shaped mound. The diameter of that circle is 1,200 feet in diameter. Capability, sophisticated engineering to do this. And they were doing it all over eastern North America, but nowhere did they do it on a grander scale than here. So that sort of answers your question. Any other questions? Okay, well I'm basically then, if there are no questions, going to turn you back over to your teacher.
Areas 2 kind of frown on teachers. I just want to get a little shot here. You really get no idea of the size of this looking through this little lens here.
You do it up on the...
Yeah. I think I was filming Nathan Joy for his mother.
Hey, did you see this up a tree in the ice?
Andrew. Go for 1 out of 5.
The gopher. Oh my god. Ancient burial tree.
Watch him come back out of there.
Trevor!
But she
That's the bullseye tree covering, all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
else coming down that hole if you want to walk from top of this mound, and then you can see over.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Turning it into a golf course.
Well, that's a good thing it is, because otherwise it'd be a housing plain mall or something.
Couldn't they, like, reserve it for historical artifacts or something?
Area. That's good.
The bottle of divots.
It's being kept nicely.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
Such like that. Women have it tough.
Hey, now I want to be a housewife.
What about preparing the skins and stuff?
Well, most of the women did that, from what I hear.
On the teeth.
God.
Where's that fire at in there?
Did it sting them? Tentacles. You know what it is that stings you? They shoot out a little... Yeah, they shoot out these little bugs.
Boy, Yogi.
Poison.
Mr. Hughes, this light's like dimming.
It's dimming.
I
You can pump it up a little bit.
I thought that was going to be the last card.
Whoa.
They were saying afterwards, powwow that you know how in some movies like the ladies always have feathers.
Mix it in there.
This was the pyromaniac group here. Their fire accidentally got put out last night. They had to go to bed. They were starting to do a war dance with hot dog sticks around the fire, practicing pitching of the hot dog stick, like ancient spear type weapon.
Bruh, is this not good?
Oh, there's Jen. You should have seen her earlier today. She looks like a human being now. And Buddy cooking his gourmet breakfast. And this crazy white man had his pants down next to the fire last night. He wears an interesting shade of red boxer shorts. That wasn't all he was showing.
Hey, we're allowed to have more of these. Eggs. Mix them up before I can.
My best side or my better side?
Do you put milk in them or anything, or are they just eggs?
Milk.
Mr. Brown's making fun of the way I look this morning. Alright.
You should have came in. I got this thing pulled up over my head and the pillow was too far and I didn't want to move it, so I'm
Why? She looked like she just crawled out of the pond. This was the swamp thing here.
Projects.
Look, where'd you get this?
Boy, you guys are lucky. I'm running out of batteries.
I hate when that happens.
Well, I never was good from one until I did that.
Come on, Jen. The last little bit of batteries, please. There you go. Big face full of Pop-Tarts.